I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them as tools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They been Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target!
Many such cases that would appear when you COVID-19, guns, immigration. Here's the truth. Oh, I wasn't muted. Uh-oh. Good morning. Monday morning. Monday night for most people in the normal world. Monday night, kicking the week off right. We got a bunch of chill stuff today. Some Iran updates. I'm just reading random Iran stories. Just for a couple updates, just so we can stay on top of it. Not a lot there. These Newark riots are going crazy. It's like each city just takes a turn. Each blue city. I'm waiting for them to get to Salt Lake. We're building one of the biggest illegal immigrant facilities out here. So I can't wait till they start doing daily riots over here in Salt Lake. So I can go hang out with the crazies. We'll look at this Newark stuff. Newark, New Jersey. And then the J6ers want money. What is it? Wrongful imprisonment? Aren't you supposed to get like $100 a day for every day you're wrongfully imprisoned? Well, they want their money. It's their money and they need it now. J6er payouts. We'll look at that stuff. Then, rapid fire news. Some MAGA guy got murked up in California. Some old man with a Trump house. He had his house trumped up. Just got murked. We got that in rapid fire. And then also updates on the Lego controversy. The newest video. The newest video from Reckless Ben. It's like 17 minutes. I don't know if we're going to watch all of it. And then I got to do more Ukraine research. Last day of cramming for you before Ukraine. I got tonight and tomorrow morning to cram. My opening for the debate with Dylan Burns is all written up. I need to say it a few times just to get more comfortable. Not the longest opening, but if I read it slowly and smoothly, I can draw it out to about 8 minutes. So it should be good, but I still just got to cram information for the next 48 hours into my head while I sleep, while I work about Ukraine. But let's get into the S. So that's what we're going to do at the end is more Ukraine research for about an hour. Just hanging out, reading through some of my files. I got everything on file, but I have to read it multiple times. Lego. Do you even know about the Lego stuff, Marshall? You were in chat when we were watching it. Lego, my Lego. Lego, my Lego. Where's that dono bar? I got to make a new dono bar. This thing's still full. I got to buy a drone. All right. What's the updates on Iran? Key points. What is this? U.S. intercepted Iranian missiles targeting American forces in Kuwait. Central Command says. This is published Monday. This is from CNBC. Business. Talked about it a little. We talked about it for like 4 hours one night. U.S. Central Command said Iran fired 2 ballistic missiles overnight targeting American forces stationed in Kuwait. The missiles fired Sunday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time were successfully intercepted, and no U.S. personnel was harmed, CENTCOM said in an X post. The attacks followed self-defense strikes on Iranian radar and command and control sites for drones that the U.S. said it conducted over the weekend in response to prior Iranian aggression. Where's my pictures? Well, that's not right. There we go. I don't think there's any video with this one. Last night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. forces successfully intercepted 2 Iranian ballistic missiles targeting American bases and American forces based in Kuwait. So it's just saying the same thing over and over again. Not a lot of information here. Kuwait's foreign ministry in a statement condemned the attacks, calling them a dangerous escalation and asserting the country's right to take necessary measures to hold Iran fully responsible for these heinous aggressions. The missiles attacks came after CENTCOM conducted self-defense strikes on Iranian radar and command and control sites. See, I knew I didn't read it wrong. There is 2 ands. Radar and command and control sites for drones over the weekend in response to prior Iranian aggression, including the shoot down of a U.S. MQ-1 drone that was operating. Dude, drones are getting crazy. Looking into Ukraine, I think Ukraine's like got the craziest drone shit in the world. It's the testing ground. It's like all these like wars and operations, Venezuela, Iran, Ukraine is all like testing grounds for new tech. It's like we're just trying it out on these little fronts. The drones in Ukraine, the whatever they did, the satellite blocking, some top secret shit they're doing with satellites to black out the whole city instantly. And then the things they're doing on the water, the waters over there in Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. It's like we're testing all this new stuff. These are just little minor scuffles. We're just trying out our new stuff. Here, let the Ukrainians play with these crazy ass AI drones for a little while. And now Russia's backing down. Over the last 3 months, Russia's been losing land. They're getting pushed back. Putin's calling Zelensky by his name now. Putin never would refer to Zelensky by his name until just over the last couple months. He's finally saying Mr. Zelensky. So some deals are happening. Trump's getting shit done. The kinetic exchanges between the U.S. and Iran came as Israel ramps up its military offensive in Lebanon against the Iran-backed militia Hezbollah. Iran has repeatedly said that Israel's attacks in Lebanon constitute violations of its ceasefire with the U.S., which began in mid-April as a 2-week pause and was later extended indefinitely by President Donald Trump. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in an X post Monday morning said the ceasefire between Iran and the U.S. is unequivocally a ceasefire on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Its violation on one front is a violation of the ceasefire on all fronts. The U.S. and Israel are responsible for the consequences of any violation, he wrote. Is it our ceasefire or is it Israel's ceasefire? Your comment came in first, Carlos. You're first in my eyes. That's not pause. What's this picture? This is the Strait. Why is it not scrolling down? Get back here. South Par's gas field. Iran resumed gas production at 3 offshore platforms. Where is Sirik Island? Where's Karg? This map's too far back. Sirik Island is a communications tower, was targeted by the U.S. Qishim Island in the Goruk area. U.S. carried out strikes on Iran's radar and drone command and control centers. U.S. naval blockade. Total of 118 vessels were reported to have altered their routes, and 5 vessels were taken out of service as part of U.S. blockade imposed on Iran. U.S. military drone shoot down. An MQ-1 Predator UAV belonging to U.S. military was reportedly shot down. UAV. What is this? 2005? All right. So that's one story. I told you I'm just keeping updated on the Iran situation. We got one more from the same site. Iran stops negotiations with U.S. Vows to completely block Strait of Hormuz. State media. This was from this morning. Iranian negotiators will stop exchanging messages with the U.S. What do you do? Like, you smoke signals? We've shut down all your shit. You're living in 50 foot deep in the earth. You got no cell phone signal. Exchanging messages. We're not going to send Lubuku out there anymore to the shores to talk to your boats with the smoke signals. My Indian seems a lot like an American Indian. Iranian. Same thing. It's all the same to me, all right? Tehran will also move to fully block the Strait of Hormuz. Tasnim reported. Oil prices leapt more than 7% higher following Tasnim's report. Iranian negotiators will stop exchanging messages with the U.S. through intermediaries, I told you, and Tehran will move to fully close the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation for ongoing ceasefire violations, Iran state-affiliated news outlet Tasnim said Monday. The report in a translated post on the social media site Telegram, they're using Telegram, homed in on Israel's military operations in Lebanon against the Iran-backed militia Hezbollah. No dialogue will take place until Israel fully withdraws from occupied areas in Lebanon and stops all attacks in both Lebanon and Gaza, per Tasnim. Also, the resistance front and Iran have resolved to completely block the Strait of Hormuz and activate other fronts, including the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, in order to punish the Zionists and their supporters. Get the Zionists. The Bab al-Mandeb Strait is a trade checkpoint that connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. Oil prices left more than 7% following Tasnim's report. Well, thanks a lot, Tasnim. Why don't you just shut up and the oil prices will stay down? Which signaled a breakdown in efforts to reach a diplomatic end to the war that is now in its 4th month. It's a horrible war. People killing, children dying. People hurting, you hear them crying. President Donald Trump, just 3 days earlier, said he would decide in a meeting in the White House Situation Room whether to agree to a deal with Iran that would at least pause the conflict. But that meeting ended without Trump making a final decision. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody's dropped a nuke yet. It's all right. We'll be all right. Trump says Israel and Hezbollah have agreed to dial back fighting from AP. They're going to dial back the fighting. We're tired of the fighting. People are killing, children are dying. People are hurt, and you hear them crying. Let's see if I can get this video on here. Let's get a little video break. Told you there's talking with smoke signals. This war is catastrophic. I saw the Associated Press watermark in the top on the side of that mountain, and I thought they had like a Hollywood mountain out in Tehran. Oh, this is Lebanon. 1 of 7. There's 7 videos. Or 7. It's just some AP video of some smoke by a little pueblo. Devastating. What else we got? Some traffic looking for my chapstick. Traffic jams were seen in southern Beirut Monday as residents attempted to flee after Israel ordered strikes on Dahia, where Hezbollah enjoys widespread support. The Israeli military was given orders to attack the southern suburbs a day after the army reached its deepest point in Lebanon. 26 years. Traffic. Damn, it looks like they got hit by an earthquake or a bomb. Probably the second one, most likely. A destroyed building was hit in an Israeli airstrike as seen through a shattered window of the Jabal Amel Hospital in the southern port city of Tyre, Lebanon, Monday. I think, this is off topic. This is Russia stuff. We'll get to this later. I'm trying to keep the... Netanyahu, what was I just reading? Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu communicated with Lebanese militant group through mediators. Trump announced the development in a social media post following a call with Netanyahu, whose forces recently made their deepest incursion into Lebanon in more than a quarter century. Trump said, we talked about this when we were doing the Iran debate prep. Lebanon is just Iran right on top of Israel. It's strategic. They wanted their fingers to reach out, and they wanted to be able to touch Israel. Iran is huge, and they want something closer to Israel, right on Israel. So they basically run Lebanon through Hezbollah, Hamas, the PLO. So, and that's why Israel's attacking Lebanon, because there's Iran right next door to them. Next. And then Freddie's like, then they're going to attack Turkey. Then they're going to attack, they're going to attack the UAE. They're not going to attack the UAE. They're not going to attack, is it Beirut? They're not going to attack Beirut. Root, baby, root. Or maybe they will. Certain parts. U.S. President, I already read all this. Okay. So, chill out, Israel and Hezbollah. Dial it back, Netanyahu. A boy looks through a damaged room at the Jabal Amel Hospital into a destroyed building that was hit in an Israeli airstrike in the southern port city of Tyre, Lebanon, Monday. He all right. He made it. More traffic, chapstick. There's a Ford Maverick. Dang, that's crazy. So that's what a nuke looks like, huh? You see one, you seen them all. That's a nuke. Not really. That's just a little bomb. Nuke's a big bomb. All right, enough of that. Let's look at these January 6er payoffs, J6er payoffs. The January 6 people are demanding some money and trying to get like a little fund built. What has it got? $1.8 billion in the fund? Yep. The Anti-Weaponization Act. This is why it's funny when Destiny brings up constantly the weaponization of the government. Trump won his second term, and one of his big things is he's going to fight the weaponization of the government. That's one of the reasons we voted for him the second term. A lot of us were still on the Trump bandwagon because we saw how much the government was weaponized. The DOJ was weaponized against Trump in the lead up to his second term. In the lead up to 2024, we saw him the 34 felonies. He's got counts in Georgia, New York, D.C. All these charges just come at him. Somebody tries to kill him, 3 or 4 times now? But that first time, the bullet in the ear. The bullet in the ear. He caught a bullet to the ear. People died, man. People forget. They tried to kill him. They sent him in every court. Illegally came up in his house looking for documents that he was allowed to have. Meanwhile, Biden's taking a nap on a pile of documents in his garage. Left his Corvette running. The garage doors closed. Thankfully, Jill made it in time. He was about to die of carbon monoxide poisoning, but he survived. Jill saved him. But they're like running up in Mar-a-Lago, searching every room, taking the golden toilet. Ridiculous. What am I going on about? Oh, the weaponization of the DOJ that was happening under Biden. They had the council thing, not the city council, but the Senate meeting, the Senate hearing on weaponization of the DOJ regarding Biden doing it. And then Trump came in. He said, we're going to stop the weaponization of the DOJ by weaponizing the DOJ. But no, you got to use the same tools they used against you. You got to use them back at them. And then it shows this is the dangerous precedent you're setting. Do you want it to stay like this? Let's not do this. Let's stop the weaponization. But first, I've got to weaponize it real quick. Get them. But, he's got to get them back for what they did. So they're calling it the Anti-Weaponization Act. The claim is that the government was using its powers. It was weaponizing its political powers against its enemies by arresting all these J6ers and not arresting BLM people. That most of these people, there was a lot of infiltrators. We know there was Antifa and bad actors. We know there was feds at Jan 6. We know that people just got a little rambunctious and did some dumb stuff. Oh, what about the J6ers who violently attack police officers? I mean, maybe in certain cases, maybe you got something there, but they still did 3 years in prison. Like what? How long of a sentence are they going to get? 10 years? Okay. Maybe those people deserve 10 years. But maybe they don't. Maybe they push somebody, or there's a bunch of people in a crowd and you push and the cop gets hit. I don't know. I've seen a lot of cases that they're like, this is horrible, but really it's just a guy waving a stick and it happens to hit an officer. Give him 10 years. Calm down, bro. Calm down. It's his first offense. He did 3 years already in ISO with no court date, no idea when he's going to get out, thinking he's going to be buried under the prison. I think 3 years is an adequate sentence. He did his time. But now they all want payouts because of this anti-weaponization thing. So they're saying, you weaponized the government against us, which I believe they did. Do all of them deserve payouts? Maybe not. Probably not. I don't know. If you're falsely imprisoned, yeah, you deserve some money. Yeah. Don't punch me. Well, don't go to J6, Seahawk Daddy, and you won't get punched. People at J6 were punching everybody. Everybody was just punching. I don't want to listen to this. I want to watch it. Do I have video? Earlier this year, not long after Trump, well, what's the headline say? NBC News, DOJ official told GOP ally that big payouts were coming for Jan 6 defendants. Months before the $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund was announced, Ed Martin predicted Capitol rioters would get millions, even if it took until 2028. Two people told NBC News. Well, it's 1.8 million divided to all of them. But then some people are jumping on it and they're making big claims. This guy's saying, but then they're saying 40 million. Earlier this year, not long after Trump administration official Ed Martin was stripped of his role as head of the Justice Department's weaponization working group that targeted the president's political foes, he sat down for breakfast at an upscale spot near the White House. Inside the Peacock Lounge at the Willard Intercontinental in Washington, D.C., Martin dined with Republican operative Norm Coleman. The two touched on the upcoming 2026 midterm elections, D.C. federal grand juries, and former special counsel Jack Smith, according to two people with direct knowledge of their conversation. Martin also predicted the Justice Department would dole out millions of dollars to those charged, and then later pardoned in the Jan 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. The people said, even if it took until the end of President Donald Trump's term. Martin estimated it would be something like 40 million, the people said. The pot ended up much, much larger. It's 1.8 billion. Oh, billion with a B. 1.8 billion? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. These people are hooked up. Damn. Jon Stewart did a story about this last night. Supposedly, he told his child victim he was getting millions from the government and would pay her if she stayed quiet. His child victim. Oh, my God. This week, the Justice Department announced a $1.776 billion fund using taxpayer dollars to provide payouts for those who suffered weaponization and lawfare at the hands of the government. The money comes as part of a settlement with President Donald Trump, who sued the executive branch that he oversees, an unprecedented legal move, experts said. Trump, his sons, and the Trump Organization filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the Internal Revenue Service over the leak of his tax returns, and he made other claims of damages in connection with a 2020 search of his Florida home and the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Russia, 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 Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. So there's the Mar-a-Lago search. There's the dossier or whatever. Russia, Russia, Russia stuff. And then the IRS over the leak of his tax returns. That was unprecedented. But you didn't hear a lot of talk about how unprecedented that was. Because Biden would never weaponize the government, weaponize the DOJ or the IRS or any of that. No lawfare from the Democrats. They would never do that. As part of the agreement to drop the claims, the fund was born. Responding to an email asking about the discussion with Martin Coleman, a former senator from Minnesota, wrote, "The people must have taken part of a conversation totally out of context." He said he had no interest in discussing snippets of breakfast conversation with a friend. Do your job. Stop the steal. Ed Martin speaks at a news conference outside the Republican National Committee, November 5th, 2020. Those days, the Stop the Steal protest in November. House Committee on the Judiciary, Democrats ranking member Jamie Raskin. I think this is like Democrats trying to get this shut down. Hold on one second. Let's watch this video.
So the number I've put in.
Let's watch this video. This guy wants 21 million. Oh my God. They're all going to. Gosh, I wish I was there. 2-year vacation in jail. Then you get pardoned. Then you get millions of dollars. Bro, I would have done it. And I think a lot of them are feds and ops who specifically did it because they knew this would happen.
$30 million, $21.5 million is for the wrongful imprisonment.
People who took part in January 6 are hoping for big payouts.
We endured a lot. Our lives are still not the same. So I don't know what kind of price you can put on that.
Even before the DOJ announced its so-called anti-weaponization fund this week.
How long were you in prison for?
Jail and prison, I combine those numbers, 1,075 days.
Damn.
People like Brandon Fellows had already begun making claims for compensation.
What's the reaction within the wider January 6 community to this fund?
Some people are whining and saying it's not enough.
That's more. No, 365, 6, 730, 1,090. 3 years would be 1,095 days. So he was in jail and prison like 3 years with no idea when he's ever going to get out. For what? You know, the lady who stole Nancy Pelosi's laptop was a member of 764. Lefty. Well, crazy kids. Anarchist. Nihilist anarchists. Anarcho-communists. So they are like left. I would say they're left-leaning, but they're also very white supremacist, neo-Nazi groups, stuff like that on the 764 world. But the lady that stole Pelosi's laptop was a member of 764. Best show on TV last week tonight with John Oliver. Sorry, John Oliver. Didn't John Oliver just die? Bro, the J6 protesters brought cattle prods. Cattle prods. They brought cattle prods. How dare they? Not cattle prods.
And we're not even hearing numbers yet.
Fellows was sentenced on felony and misdemeanor charges for entering the Capitol on January 6.
Yeah, we went in there.
Seen here in a red beard costume, Fellows spoke to CNN's Ellie Reeve during the riot.
But they were smoking a bunch of weed in there.
The charges against him were dismissed after a pardon from President Trump. Now Fellows expect
Smoking weed in the White House. Seems like what most Trump supporters would do. John Oliver's alive and well. Which one of them died? Didn't one of them die just recently? Not Stephen Colbert. Probably going to be fired when I thought one of them died this week. What am I thinking of?
compensation.
According to ChatGPT and Grok, and also my knowledge of January 6 cases, I'm in at least the 3 to 5% upper tier for how terrible and also how strong of a case I have.
It's like surreal to me. I mean, look how angry I look.
Rachel Powell, a mom of 8 and a grandmother to 8, spent 3 years under house arrest. We interviewed her before she began her prison sentence in
John Mulrooney? That's not who I'm thinking of. I don't know. I thought like Stephen Colbert or one of those guys died recently. Maybe his show ended and it looked like he died.
2024.
I don't deserve this, and my kids don't deserve it. Like, have we not been through enough?
She was released last year after being pardoned by Trump.
What do you say to people who are outraged and say people like you don't deserve a penny?
A lot of people don't agree with what happened on January 6th. But when you step back and you look at somebody like me, for example, my major felony had to be struck down by the Supreme Court. It's my crime that day of breaking a window. Technically, that's a misdemeanor charge. And yet I had 3 years of a house arrest, then having to endure everything I did through prison and getting a 5-year sentence on top of that. That's clearly weaponization.
Brandon Fellows still believes the lies about the 2020 election and even believes that January 6 was a setup.
But that's why I rationalize people, even violent people, getting paid for that day. Because the government set it up, and also on top of that, they stole the election.
And both Fellows and Powell remain loyal to President Trump and thankful for the so-called anti-weaponization fund.
Damn. I wish I would have broke a window out of the White House. Shit. Could have made a couple milli. Damn it.
I feel like he has kept us in his mind, despite all the other issues that he's got.
And he just went inside and sat in a chair. She broke a window out. But yeah, what do you charge someone for breaking a window out of a home they own? Like, what's the penalty for that? She paid for that window. So she's just breaking a window out of her own house. It's kind of stupid, but seeing included, those are some aliens buying those same allies are buying HBO and Warner Brothers. Trump allies bought CBS and almost immediately fired him. Colbert got canceled. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I saw Colbert got canceled and it looked like a funeral. With a bunch of old comedians.
Got to deal with as leader of the world, basically.
Are you thankful to the president?
Of course, I'm thankful. If it wasn't for the president, I'd still be sitting in that prison.
Some of these cases, January 6th, there were some very bad actors. There's no doubt about that. But there were other people who, if you look at the entire federal system throughout the United States of America, who got punished in a way that was much more
crazy severe
than typically people. I mean, besides there was a handful of people who did horrible things, but the majority of them was trespass. It was trespass. The majority was they went somewhere where they weren't supposed to go. That's a crime.
No, they were part of a mob. They were part of a mob.
But
that's an incredible statement you just made. Oh my God. It's like that sounds like Jalen. Tell me more about how they just were trespassing, missile.
That's an incredible statement you just made.
Incredible.
That they just went somewhere like they went to the local 7-Eleven.
But I'm talking about the law.
This
I'm
was
talking
the
about the
capital
law.
of the United States.
Well, I mean, it would actually be worse if you broke a window out at the 7-Eleven because that's not your building. That's not my public taxpayer-funded building. The 7-Eleven is a private company. If I do that, that's even more fucked up than breaking the window out of the White House. Breaking the window out of a random 7-Eleven, like, you're a real asshole. I understand why you would have a reason to break the window out of the White House when you're pissed off about an election and you think that they're stealing the government from you. And people get crazy, and there's a bunch of feds and Antifa riling everybody up, and they're like, let's go into the house, the people's house. And you break a window out. It's like, okay, well, I mean, that's your window. You're kind of an idiot, but, you know, whatever. Taxes pay for that. You're going to pay to fix it. You're probably going to get in trouble for it. But you break a window out of a random 7-Eleven, you're a real jerk. You know?
I listen, I think it was the worst day in American history. So 9/11 was the worst day in American history.
God. This guy's one of those January 6th, worse than Pearl Harbor, 9/11. It was the worst day in American history. Worse than the Trail of Tears. Worse than slavery.
This is a horrible.
Worse than abortion.
Horrible day. I'm not defending what happened that day. I'm being a lawyer. I'm not talking about the politics.
Okay.
I'm talking about what they were charged with and what their ultimate sentences were. They were people who were held in solitary confinement for trespass. There were people who killed themselves in prison over this. And the president has the
January 6th
as a person who's
officer who
written a
killed
lot about mass incarceration, when I look across all of the ways that the Justice Department has punished people who did not deserve to be punished, put them
She said, and there was a January 6th officer who killed himself. I don't know if that's the line of argument you want to go down. Why? Why did that January 6th officer kill himself days later? Maybe could it be because he saw the amount of corruption in the government and he saw how screwed up the world was? Maybe because he knew some things weren't on the up and up and they did a lot of things to a lot of people that probably shouldn't have been done? Like Roseanne Boyland. Why do we never talk about Roseanne Boyland? You know, they never want to talk about her.
solitary confinement, all the things.
Yeah, I do read from the bottom up. So you have to write reverse. The most recent thing needs to be the last thing. Or wait, the first thing. The most recent thing needs to be the first thing, and the last. I don't know how to explain it. You guys got to write backwards, dude.
You think that this group of people deserves $1.8 billion?
No, but I don't think it's limited to this group of people. As far as I know, I think Biden's son could go and ask for this. Say, hey, I was targeted by the Justice Department. I need my money back.
How was he targeted? Hold on. How was he targeted by the Justice Department?
I'm not saying it would be a viable claim, but I don't think the way I read the press release, it's just for January 6th.
You don't see this as obscene. I see it as absolutely obscene.
No. I would agree with the first.
I see it as a scene. That's a scene.
Senator, it's a little beyond the pale of normalcy. How about that?
Go back one step because this is a perfectly good debate about why would you pay money to people who are.
I mean, it seems like the bald guy explained it pretty well, and it seems like the black guy has had nothing but incredulity. He hasn't made an argument against it yet. He just said, that's ridiculous. Oh my God, it's a scene.
Convicted criminals. There is a system already to deal with those issues. But let's just talk about the fact that we have a quote unquote settlement for $1.8 billion.
That's it.
Let's leave aside that it's collusive because the plaintiff and the defendant are the same person.
Yeah, that's not typical.
But then so one of the reasons you know it's collusive is not just that they're the same party. Donald Trump himself said this when he brought the case saying, I know this is odd because I'm on both sides. But let's look at the merits of the case. The merits of the case were, and this was in front of the federal judge who had it in Florida, was that there was no case. The reason the IRS general counsel quit is obvious because the IRS is defending the IRS, the public.
This is what I was hearing. Some people were debating that So Trump brought this case up. He's the plaintiff and the defendant.
For the same type of violations and claims that are made by Donald Trump. But here, when it's Donald Trump, they pay out the money. The clear way that this case should have been dismissed is it was not brought timely. It was supposed to be made within 2 years. Do you know how much money that means that the public would?
Oh, now you care about statutes of limitations. Why can't we just do like what you did in New York and just make the statute of limitations longer so we can bring up charges from 30 years ago about some crazy woman getting touched in a bathroom or in a dressing room or something? All right, we can't spend all day on this. I wanted to read the Democrat. Okay, this is it. So this is from the House Committee on Judiciary. Democrats, ranking member Jamie Raskin. Following Trump's efforts to steal $1.8 billion from U.S. Treasury for MAGA slush fund, ranking member Raskin introduces legislation to block fraudulent abuse of federal settlement funds. Legislation halts use of public funds for Trump v. IRS settlement and prevents plunder of taxpayer dollars to enrich J6 cop beaters and MAGA foot soldiers. This is from the House Committee on the Judiciary. Seems very seems like an op-ed. May 20th, 2026, Washington, D.C. So this is from last week. Today, Representative Jamie Raskin, ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, introduced the No Taxpayer-Funded Settlement Slush Funds Act of 2026 to block President Donald Trump's illegal and unprecedented $1.8 billion taxpayer-funded MAGA slush fund as part of the corrupt settlement in Trump v. IRS and to restore safeguards on the use of federal settlement money. The legislation directly prohibits the use of federal funds to create or finance the slush fund established under. So they're just trying to block this, the payouts for this. IRS settlement imposed sweeping new restrictions to prevent taxpayer dollars from being steered to January 6 rioters, MAGA sycophants, I can get some money? Senior government officials and members of the president or vice president's family. Trump is trying to commandeer nearly $1.8 billion in taxpayer funds to bankroll a slush fund for January 6 cop beaters and aggrieved MAGA foot soldiers. I'm one of those. This massive abuse of public money also has glaring constitutional defects. Only Congress has the power to appropriate federal dollars, and we didn't appropriate a cent for the J6 Millionaire Trust Fund. That's why I'm introducing the No Taxpayer-Funded Settlement Slush Funds Act to shut down this highway robbery and restore basic guardrails on how taxpayer dollars are spent. Congress must reassert the power of the purse and stop this brazen looting of taxpayer funds before this pilot program for massive partisan corruption becomes the permanent operating system of our government, said ranking member Raskin. I'm just going to finish reading this because this is crazy. No Taxpayer-Funded Settlement Slush Funds Act of 2026 amends the federal judgment fund statute on bar payments tied to claims arising from the investigations or prosecutions related to the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, foreign interference in the 2016 presidential election, or cases already dismissed with prejudice. It also prohibits settlement payouts to the president, vice president, their immediate family members, cabinet officials, senior executive office of the president's staff, political appointees, and entities they control. The bill requires the Department of the Treasury to report to the Congressional Judiciary Committees all settlement payments exceeding $100,000. For payments above $250,000 or any payment made on the basis of immediate litigation, Treasury must give advance notice to Congress and delay the disbursement of funds for 120 days, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is just the technical stuff. Bill further authorizes Attorney General to pursue civil action to recover any improperly dispersed funds and seek injunctions against unlawful payments. Now we'll just weaponize the government back, Trump. Ha ha. Check. And it prohibits the creation of future presidential slush funds. Today's bill introduced follows ranking member Raskin's motion to subpoena the architects of Trump's slush fund during a Judiciary Committee hearing. Earlier today, ranking member Raskin and the House Ways and Means ranking member Richard E. Neal sent a letter to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, and IRS CEO Frank Bisignano, demanding answers regarding Trump's settlement agreement. IRS, click here to build the text. Okay, so that's that. I don't know. It's looking like it's going to happen, but they're trying to block it. but that was what, 12 days ago, and all the newest reports are saying it's gonna happen. Here's PBS News. Justice Department announces 1.7 anti-weaponization fund to compensate Trump allies. So just interesting takes from the media, different ways to interpret what's happening here. What do you guys think? Should taxpayer 1.8 when we're in debt as much as we are? Should 1.8 billion be going to? It's not all going to go to J6ers, by the way. Like that guy said, this is a fund. Democrats could use this fund. They could say the government was weaponized against me, and if they have a case and it holds up in court, then they could get some money. And that's what that one guy was saying. He said even Hunter Biden could use this. He could say when they came after me for my guns, they were weaponizing the government against me. So I want to pay out. And if his trial holds up, then but of course they're not going to bring that up, because then you'd be digging up old skeletons. Just let that die. Let's move on past that, Hunter. You got, what do they call it? A sweetheart deal? All Trump has to do is bypass this, is collect his settlement, and then hand it out as personal gifts. Nothing worse than slushy money. Okay, let's read from the top down. If J-Sex is interesting to you, last night's John Oliver will be very... I can't play like John Oliver and Jon Stewart and late night, Saturday Night Live. Nothing. You can't play that on YouTube. Or I'd have to pause it every 10 seconds, and it would take me 10 minutes to get through one 6-minute video. But I'm out. Check it out. It's free on YouTube. Can't recommend it enough. Can't recommend what? John Oliver? I've seen John Oliver before. I'm not much of a fan. JS reads from the bottom up. A challenge. It will be a challenge. Oh, wait. I'm supposed to go up now. All Trump has to do is bypass the... Oh, okay, I already read that. All right. So that's that. Now, for a little riot corn. Riot corn, riot corn. Do you like watching some riot corn? See, why can't we get a song like that? Are we not, man? Where's he at? Let me get a song like that. We're going to the riot. There's going to be people fighting. It's not going to be quiet. We're watching riot corn, riot corn. Can I get that as a song? Newark Mayor Ras Baraka orders mandatory curfew for half-mile surrounding Delaney Hall. Newark, New Jersey. Protesters at Delaney Hall came face-to-face with New Jersey State Police, brought in by Governor Mickey Sherrill to bring order outside the facility. It has been a week. Sign. Typo. Get an editor. Eyewitness News, ABC 7. You're going to need an editor, buddy. It has been a week since the protest began after immigrant advocates said detainees launched a hunger strike because of poor living conditions. Demonstrators have attempted to block people and vehicles from entering and exiting. Late Saturday night, Newark Mayor Ras Baraka ordered a mandatory curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. for a half-mile surrounding Delaney Hall, effective immediately. Baraka released a statement saying, beginning at 12 a.m., Dormis Avenue will be closed to all pedestrian traffic. Vehicle access will be strictly limited to those with verified official business in this area. This curfew will remain in effect nightly from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. until further notice. Governor Mike Sherrill said she sent in the state police to bring order outside Delaney Hall as the demonstrations have intensified. See, at least she's bringing in local police. It has grown unsafe, and that's completely unacceptable, the Democratic governor said at a news conference announcing the new measures. We need to take this opportunity to lower the temperature. Police erected barriers. Let's see. So this is from Times of India. This is not live YouTube. This is news and documentary, educational purposes only, and entertainment. But mainly education and news purposes. We're covering this. These are the Newark anti-ICE protests that are happening, and we are reporting on this. And for opinion and entertainment purposes, but also education and news reporting. This is not live. Disclaimer. So if there's any anything happens in this video, I'm getting this from Times of India off of YouTube. Let's check it out.
A night of chaos, confrontation, and mass arrests in New Jersey's Newark. A tense confrontation unfolded outside the Delaney Hall ICE Detention Center in Newark as police arrested at least 20 protesters after they allegedly violated a newly imposed curfew aimed at ending weeks of protests. According to New York Post, local and state police closed off a length of Doremus Avenue, roughly a quarter mile around the Delaney Hall, to stop crowds of protesters from reaching the immigration facility.
It's been getting wild out there. And this is where I got the Cam Higbee thing. We watched the Cam Higbee video already of him getting quote unquote attacked. It was kind of lame, if you ask me, but it's been getting crazy out there for all week now.
As the protests escalated, Newark Mayor Ras Baraka imposed a curfew early.
Oh, I thought Ras Baraka was this guy, but that's the Eyewitness News correspondent. Ras Baraka is a Democrat woman. Shocker. Why am I not surprised?
Sunday around the immigration center. In a statement, Baraka said, and I quote, "Individuals who violate the curfew will receive an initial warning, but will be removed and face possible legal action if they refuse to comply." On the other hand, New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill alleged masked individuals attacked a barrier in a designated protest area set up by state police and were throwing projectiles, utilizing the barriers as weapons, and lighting tires on fire in the street.
You got to keep your eyes on the skyline and just watch them. And you just wait, and then step out of the way. But if you're not paying attention, you get whacked in the head with one of them canisters. That's going to hurt.
Last night, we saw masked individuals attack the barrier, taking aggressive, dangerous actions against Newark and New Jersey State Police. They threw projectiles. They
Hold on, I got to go get some water real quick.
used barriers as weapons and lit tires on fire in the street. Police at this time were not wearing protective gear. They'd been on site since the morning to ensure that protesters on all sides, pro-ICE, anti-Delaney Hall, could safely exercise their First Amendment rights. As the situation intensified, additional support was needed. Because of their good, fast work, arrests were limited to 3 people. Let me be clear. Violent, chaotic clashes hurt everyone. They put the lives of both protesters and law enforcement in danger. They take the focus away from people inside Delaney Hall and their families. And they raise the temperature with ICE. I will ensure...
What's up, Russ? Need JS up in this urban adventure for real.
Public safety, and I refuse to give ICE an excuse to surge into our communities. That would make the situation more dangerous and put more New Jerseyans at risk. It's time to bring the temperature down. Today, I'm announcing that the Department of Homeland Security has agreed to restore family visitations starting today at noon. If you have questions about seeing your family members, contact the facility directly, as you've done in the past. State and local law enforcement will help to escort families in. It's critical that everyone in the area allow that to happen safely. There's much more to do, and I will continue pushing DHS to provide appropriate...
So they're picking up illegal immigrants, and then their 12 family members in their little pueblo are like, oh no, Juan, he is going by being deported. Please let me see Juan. We must, Daddy, we want to see you, Daddy. And so these guys go on hunger strike, and then word gets out that they're on hunger strike, and then all the lefties lose their mind and start attacking the police and stuff in the facility, trying to get them all released. So they said, okay, we're going to let them see their family. Abuelita can call me Vise. calm down, man. Eat the sandwich. and then, and hopefully this will make it all better. But these crazy leftists are still going to protest and riot. That's just what they do.
Appropriate medicine and care for all detainees, especially the most vulnerable. It must give detainees.
That would be funny. I'm in the chair. I got like a camera hookup, just rolling around talking to people and flying a drone around. That'd be pretty epic.
A meaningful chance to review their cases. It must stop pressuring detainees.
Don't forget, I have the van. I'll be in a van.
And signing deportation documents. And it must be transparent about who is being held at that facility.
Earlier, New Jersey governor urged the protesters to bring the temperature down. Tear gas in the air. Protesters storming checkpoints and police barriers being pushed aside.
You see, we're still talking about Jan 6ers who were in prison for 3 years because they broke a window. Now we have hundreds of these people on tape throwing gas canisters at the police. Yeah, the police threw the gas canister at them. But like, if a police officer shoots at you, that doesn't mean you get to shoot back at the police officer. Like, the police officer goes to hit you with his baton. You don't get to catch the baton and hit him back with it. It's not the way this works. Everyone who grabs one of these canisters off the ground and throws it back at the cops should be getting a very serious charge. I mean, if we're talking about these J6ers who accidentally bumped into a cop should get 10 years. How many years do you get for throwing an incendiary device at the police officers?
A week of mounting tensions.
And this is how you get the Euromaidan revolution. And then 10 years from now, if some civil war is happening in America, they're going to say, well, it's because the cops just decided to go out and start massacring people during the ICE riots of 2026.
Exploded outside New Jersey's Delaney Hall Immigration Detention Center as demonstrators attempted to block access to the facility and state authorities stepped in to take control of the scene. And now New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill, in an appeal to the protesters, has urged them to bring the temperature down.
I'm the bootlegger. You lick my boot, woman. I'm the boot wearer. You're the bootlicker.
As I said yesterday, my focus is on protecting people's right to protest peacefully and ensuring everyone's safety. Here in New Jersey, we can and we must do both. We know what ICE has done in other states. We know about the hundreds of injuries caused. We know the fear they've caused in communities across the nation. And we know American citizens have been killed, including a mom who had just dropped her child off at school.
Is she talking about Renee Good? She just dropped her child off at school and then decided to harass ICE agents all day?
I refuse to let that happen in New Jersey. I will not give ICE a pretext to expand operations at Delaney Hall or across our state. I will not put lives at risk. I'm grateful to the vast majority of protesters who have assembled peacefully and raised their voices about Delaney Hall's conditions. That's exactly where our focus needs.
It's not a conditions fault. It's those people's fault they're not eating. Eat the sandwich, Pablo.
To be right now, advocating for better conditions for those inside the facility. We can't let what's happening outside Delaney Hall take us away from that mission. Yesterday,
These
New
cops
Jersey
are like
law
007
enforcement
and his
established a
protesters
peaceful,
have not received the
protected
memo.
protest.
Well, no, ICE is already like that. Even without Trump having to do any sort of pardons or anything, ICE is set up like that. Like, people say they're violating the Fourth Amendment. Title 8, if you read through all Title 8, they don't have to have a warrant. ICE is different. ICE has more, I forget the word, more, some sort of power than any branch of the government. DHS and ICE specifically have more, I want to say, it's not judiciary, it's not legislative power, it's executive power, like power to arrest people, power to get around. They don't need warrants for things. If there's a suspected illegal immigrant, then they don't have the same. The laws are different for ICE. They can just lock people up. Even jurisdiction may be power. They have more power, not just jurisdiction, because marshals have no jurisdiction. So marshals are similar. They can arrest somebody anywhere, but no, ICE has more like power. They don't need warrants. It's all in Title 8. We read through it when we were doing the ICE debate prep. So I don't remember it off the top, but I got folders, but there's a word for what I'm thinking of. But anyway, what's up, Seesaw? Enough of this Times India video. Let's look at this crazy person in a mask yelling at people. Where's my camera? Here we go. It's from New York Post. This is one of these people wearing one of these apothecary. What's it called? An apothecary mat? I'm not saying that right. Apothecary. I can't say it now.
Are you here because you want to go to college? Who here wants to go to college? Who's here because you want to go to school?
Yeah, college did you wonders.
Look at all those guys over there. They wouldn't even qualify as a Walmart greeter.
Am I wrong?
Plague doctor style mask. A plague doctor. Yelling questions and insults. And then there's this black crackhead lady that gets shipped around to all the protests. And her job is just to get content creators' videos demonetized and stuff. So she'll flash the camera. Have you guys seen this black crackhead lady? She's got blonde hair. She's at all the protests, especially in New York, Chicago, New Jersey. She's at this one, and she's like laying on the ground, opening her legs and playing with her noo-noo. She's playing with her noo-noo in front of the ICE agents. This dirty, nasty crackhead lady. And she's in all the videos. Like, all the content creators should be like, hey, Cam. Hey, Nick Shirley. What you doing, Nick Shirley? And pull her, flash the camera and try to get the video demonetized or the live stream demonetized. What the heck is this I hear about JS versus Avarice fight? We're going to wrestle. He's a trained wrestler, but I'm big and strong. And I'm a monster when I get angry. Don't make me angry. See, he's going to bop me in the forehead, and I'm going to double leg him. Gonna take him down. JS ain't no bootlicker unless... Oh, no. Having this channel might make JS immune to conviction right now. This is true. I'm a journalist. She got a chicken bone? Who's getting a diploma if they F me up today? What?
Flip your flag, sir. Flip your flag. It's Velcro, isn't it?
I don't want to misgender him.
Flip it. Flip your flag.
Okay, this is retarded.
Nation.
Not the best footage, New York Post. Here's Cam Higbee. Now, what I see is him kind of being the aggressor and pulling the pepper spray. Not quite different from Chud the Builder. He's trying to get his Savannah Hernandez moment. Or his Savannah, Samantha Crawley? Ah, shit, I can't remember her last name. The black girl that got punched in the face talking about abortion. Also Savannah, but a different Savannah. But the problem is when a little girl gets beat up by 3 big, fat, nasty Antifa, it's not the same as you kind of, going up in there and then I'm going to pepper spray you and having a bodyguard with a gun on his hand trying to start shit with people to get your viral clip. Influencer Cam Higby ganged up on by anti-ICE mob outside Delaney Hall. He said, okay, so here's Cam. Takes a second to spot him. He's got a gray shirt on. He said, I'll light all you motherfuckers up. And he's got pepper spray in his hand. And he's got security guard right here with his hand on his gun in a second. See, he's putting his hand on his gun right now. Now, I don't know if that's, it's probably lethal.
Give me all my
They have both of those. I have one. Which one? Green case or white case? Goldie! Yo, both guys. Look at my white case. They do. I don't know. God! Let's get out. We gotta go. Time to go.
And you know he's fed it up because they take him right into the ICE building. Eh. Did that guy just call him a wanker? Sounded like he said, you wanker. What are you, British? It sounded like he called him a wanker. You wanker.
Run away!
Then they bring him inside. That's crazy. They wouldn't bring me inside there. How do you get that treatment? Where they do that at? I've never seen any other journalists get brought into the facility. That's kind of wild to me. That just happened right there is crazier to me than the attack. Like, the attack didn't even seem that bad. Seemed like he was kind of asking for it, trying to get the viral clip. When he said, I'm going to light you all up with my pepper spray, but I got a gun behind me. Nobody cares about the pepper spray, Cam. They're all wearing masks. You're not wearing a mask. That's why you're rubbing your eyes right now. They're all wearing gas masks and protective coverings and umbrellas designed to stop those things. Nobody cares about the pepper spray. They're worried about the guy behind you with the gun. And then they get escorted into the ICE facility. That's kind of weird. You don't know that? You look like a decent white man? They don't say, hey, he looks like a decent white guy. Let's let him into the facility. What are they dumping on the cop car? Is that gasoline? I gotta think that that's not just water. Like, if it's water, I'd be like, thank you for washing my car. If that's gasoline, you know, it does more cool stuff if you have a match. Interesting. What else we got? After weekend clashes and protests continue under curfew near Newark ICE facility. This is some daytime activity. Why is it grayed out like that? All right, this is short. Protest continued Sunday past a nightly curfew near Delaney Hall. Several protesters arrested after refusing to leave once the curfew began. A group of individuals who had come to protest armed with helmets, shields, or gas masks deliberately refused to comply with repeated orders to leave the area and were arrested. The Wall of Moms. They're probably old, fat, physically infirm, mentally unstable people that they put on the front line specifically to get arrested and make it look bad. Moms, elderly people, people in wheelchairs, autistic people, that kind of people. That's who they put on the front lines. That's the Wall of Moms. It's a strategy they use. One last video here. 20 arrests. At least 20 anti-ICE rioters arrested at New Jersey facility. So something's happening.
On Fox 1.
Okay, so
and then we'll get to reels and rapid fire.
Down to New Jersey, where the mayor of Newark has ordered a curfew around the Delaney Hall Immigration Center after several days of clashes between protesters and immigrant agents. But that hasn't quelled the chaos, with at least 20 protesters arrested overnight. Meanwhile, New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill is claiming she scored a win on visitation rights at the facility and is calling for its closure.
Oh, that's Mikey Sherrill. That's not Roz. Who's the Democrat mayor?
The Department of Homeland Security has agreed to restore family visitation starting today at noon. There's much more to do, and I will continue pushing DHS to provide appropriate medicine and care for all detainees. I'll keep pressing DHS to do better, to abide by our nation's Constitution, and to close Delaney Hall down for good.
Dude, I cannot find a picture of this Roz Baraka person. I found their bio on the Newark website. Who the hell is Roz Baraka? Images? Stephen Philippa, Jenny, blah, 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 New Jersey mayor, Politico. Roz Baraka. There he is. He black. He black. That's him. This guy right here.
Our DHS advisor Charles Marino joins us now. Charles, let's start with the arrests overnight. The left will surely complain that these arrests of a protest and protesters is chilling to free speech, First Amendment rights. Why is that argument completely wrong, Charles?
Well, because you're breaking the law, you're violating curfew, you're being violent, you're blocking traffic, you're attacking people.
This is the dangerous game that Governor Sherrill and other sanctuary city politicians play over and over again, including what we saw out in Minneapolis. They invite these kinds of...
And then I heard in a debate with Brian Shapiro and some guy, he was saying, they always say, why are they sending all the ICE to places like Minnesota? Why aren't they sending them to Texas? That's not true. That's bullshit. Texas and Florida have the highest level of deportations. Also the highest level of immigrants. And California too, but California is one of those sanctuary cities where it's harder to deport them from. But they are getting deported in huge numbers from Texas and Florida. But you don't see riots there because the state doesn't allow that shit to happen. Those people will go to jail, and there's going to be more patriots down there who are going to be like, no, we want these people out of our state immediately. Let's make this happen. Of course, there's going to be old ladies protesting in Florida. There's always old people, snowbirds protesting in Florida. There's always people on the corner in Florida, a bunch of old ladies and old people protesting whatever the Florida governor's doing. Those people don't even live there for half of the year. They're from the north. They come down to Florida because it's nice in the summer. Up in the state where I'm from in Philadelphia, people kill each other all summer. So we get out of there. We come down to Florida, for the winter, whatever, all year. I know a lot of people that move from up north down to Florida. They know they hate it up there. That's why they came to Florida. But then they bring their stupid ass politics with them, A bunch of old white ladies going out and protesting Trump every weekend. But they're deporting in huge numbers from Florida and Texas. And you don't see it all over the media about ICE blockades and people getting ran over and shot because they're fighting with ICE agents. That doesn't happen there. So it's not that we're not using ICE and deporting people in Florida and Texas. We are. And it's very successful. All you see is the states where there's a bunch of retards who want to cause problems.
Protests, they create the conditions for them to become extremely violent. And then about a week or 2 weeks later, they swoop behind the podium and they pretend to call for calm. We've seen her do exactly this, and it's unacceptable. She can't have it always. It's dangerous to law enforcement, who Democrats have proven over and over they absolutely despise. And it's because Democrats don't want to see the laws of this country enforced, including the federal immigration.
With this. So I do think that federal agents need to be brought in for this at every single time, no matter where it is.
Well, it's a good point about the state and local law enforcement agencies. Let's remember, in this case in New Jersey, state and locals were not allowed to come to the aid of ICE agents for 8 days at the direction of the governor. Another game that these sanctuary cities play that leave ICE agents extremely vulnerable to attacks, which is why we're seeing an over 8,000% increase on assaults. Now, the problem, the challenge really for Secretary Mullen is, look, we all want to see consequences, significant consequences for these sanctuary cities whose policies do nothing but undercut our homeland security. The challenge is a little upcoming event called the World Cup, in which MetLife Stadium, located in New Jersey, is going to be hosting a number of those events.
Right. They'll clean up the streets for the World Cup, just like Salt Lake City will clean up the streets for the Olympics when they come in a couple years. They're coming back to Salt Lake City, and we're already getting ready for it. They're trying to clean up the homelessness now because the Olympics are coming. New Jersey's going to clean up the streets because the World Cup is coming. LA, they're going to clean up the streets because whatever dude from China is coming to visit. They do it for soccer riots in Europe. Pretty awesome. Been a while since I saw horses get used for crowd control. Seems like scary when there's a bunch of people on horses around you, like you're in some medieval war, but also seems more dangerous. Like you're going to scare a horse and it's going to buck a cop off, or the horse is going to crush somebody. Interesting, though. Make you feel like you're in a medieval war movie. That would be pretty epic. All right, guys, that's it for the main story news. Look at this dono bar. It's all full. I need a new one. What do we got? We got some rapid fire stuff. We'll spend a little bit on this guy, this Trump supporter. Got killed in front of his house, I guess. I haven't looked at the story yet. Give me a moment to pull everything up. Couple funny articles. We're going to do an update on the Lego stuff. I'm super hooked into this Lego story. I've been watching everything about it. It sucks because I'm supposed to be learning about Ukraine, but I'm learning about Lego theft. All right, what do we got here? We're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch some bars first. First, I got bars for you guys. You ready for some bars? Get ready. This is lit right here. Let's go full screen. I can't hear it.
Terminator, so
bars.
I'm gonna take the stairs instead of the elevator. Half cripple, half machine, I'm built like the Terminator. So many bands, I'll cop me a new accelerator. Get the fuck off my dick, that's what I tell a hater.
Let's go.
Me in the morning, in the evening, that's an hour later. Can't get enough of me, she's coming back an hour later. Legs don't work, they think I sit in my chair confined.
Legs don't work, they think I sit in my chair confined.
Still pulling up, cripple walking and spitting.
Still pulling up, crip walking and spitting some rhymes.
Some rhyme, one step for men, it's a giant leap for cripple kind.
100 miles an hour.
Today I'm gonna take the stairs instead of the elevator.
One step for man, it's a giant leap for cripple kind. Bars, guys. Bars. Lego cult is the worst cult in the world. That's how I'm going to open the debate. You're right. The Lego cult. Worst cult in the world. What do we got here? All right. This Trump guy. Trump House. So, Trump House owner, Carrie Sharon, a 69-year-old Army veteran living in Escondido, has died days after a brutal attack outside his house. He was known throughout the community for covering his property with pro-Trump banners and American flags. Authorities say the suspect remains in custody as the investigation continues. So I think I have it here from ABC. A Southern California man dies after being beaten outside his Trump-themed home. 69-year-old Southern California man known for the display of American flags and Make America Great Again memorabilia he kept in his front yard has died days after being attacked and beaten outside of his home. Kerry George Sharon, whose family members said he was an Army veteran and supporter of President Donald Trump, was assaulted last week outside his Escondido residence that locals dubbed the Trump House. He was pronounced dead at the hospital on Sunday, according to a statement. Let's see what she says.
May have made him a target.
Dang.
After days in the ICU, he passed.
That may have made him a target, you think? My man's house is trumped out to the max. This is sad.
Passed away Sunday evening, and now neighbors are continuing to show up outside of his house to make sure Kerry and what he stood for won't be forgotten.
We were driving by on our way to the store, and I saw police tape up all around here. And I'm like, oh no, they got Kerry.
On Wednesday afternoon, Kerry Sharon was attacked just outside of his home. His injuries were significant and ultimately fatal.
What happened to our fellow veteran is something that should have never happened.
The suspect ran off but was arrested a few blocks away and identified as Thomas Caleb Butler.
We need to stand strong.
Thomas Caleb Butler. Can I get a picture of Thomas Caleb Butler? 3 names like an assassin. Thomas Caleb Butler photo. Alleged Trump House suspect was Navy veteran. New York Post says alleged Trump House suspect was Navy veteran with severe PTSD from a family friend. Here, I got a picture of him. Looks like a decent guy. I don't know. He's a Star Wars fan. Alleged. This is the alleged suspect. PTSD Navy veteran. I wonder if there was an altercation or what happened.
And this is an example, when we lost Kerry, of how far we've gone off the wrong track.
People have been showing up on the sidewalk for days, bringing flowers and holding signs with the hopes that Kerry would make it through. After he passed Sunday night, the community still coming together to remember him.
He's got a wall of flags.
My husband, you know.
I'm sure the neighborhood, the homeowners community hated Kerry. I'm sure everybody on that street hated Kerry for having all that crap. Like, I love Trump stuff, but it does look a little trashy in the neighborhood. I mean, come on, Kerry. Can't you just get a fence like a normal person?
How he was the very good man.
Neighbors are speculating over whether this was politically motivated, since
Well, you
Kerry has
think?
been targeted in the past.
Back in March, people came through with razor blades and cut up a bunch of Kerry's flags.
But now those flags hang high, with plenty of people making sure they stay that way.
His wife hasn't been able to eat. She hasn't been able to sleep. But the community has brought tamales and enchiladas and pizzas and all kinds of things. So she just wanted to make sure everybody in the community gets a thank you for all the support.
32-year-old Thomas Caleb Butler has been booked on attempted murder charges. He'll appear in court next on June 3rd. Reporting in Escondido, I'm Ava Kirshner.
All right. Well, yeah, that's a sad story. But, yep, they're targeting the elders now. Whoever. Now, I don't know. It's maybe too early to jump the gun. I don't know if there's any CCTV footage or anything around there. Was there some sort of verbal altercation, or is this Thomas Caleb Butler guy just some crazy wackadoo that just decided to kill somebody? They're calling him by 3 names, which is typical of like assassins and MK Ultra victims. So getting a little conspiratorial here, but who is Thomas Caleb Butler? I have no idea, but that's him right there. All right, let's move on to the next story we got. What do we got? Next story. This is just a funny video, kind of like for the reels. Check this out. I'm going to go full screen. Look at this. This is crazy. Let me get my face out of here. Cop pulls this girl over. It says, "You drove past me holding your phone with your right hand."
Rodriguez Sala with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. This is why you're being pulled over. The city of Lake Worth today, we're doing an operation for distracted driver, and you drove past me holding the phone with your right hand, manipulating that phone.
He says, "You drove past me holding your phone with your right hand," and she just goes, "I don't have a right hand." Her arm is amputated from like the elbow down. She has no right arm. So he says, "I'm pulling you over for holding your phone with your right hand." And she just goes, "Look, officer, I don't have a right hand."
I mean, I saw you with the phone in your hand.
Obviously not. So you want to just call this a day?
I don't want to call it a day. You had a hand up.
You had a hand up with a phone in your right hand. Bitch, I don't have a right hand. Are you seriously going to push this after I just showed you I have no right hand? Maybe she's got one of them fake arms in the passenger seat with a phone in it. Now that would be a twist. That would be a serious twist. Does she have an amputated arm? Find out this time on Unsolved Mysteries.
You just said my right hand.
Well, I thought I saw you with your right hand. You
so
had a
you
hand
didn't.
up. The right hand. I saw you
So
manipulate.
you didn't.
With the right hand, perhaps not, right?
Bitch, I don't have a right hand. What are you talking about?
But you didn't see me with my right hand.
So are you
saying that you saw me with my right hand?
I know what I just said. I'm asking you that. Did you or not have your phone on your hand?
I did not.
You did not have your phone in your hand?
I did not.
Hand to God, you did not have your phone in your hand.
Hand to God. Which one? My right hand? You want me to put my right hand on the Bible, officer? I don't have a right hand. He just said hand to God. No way. Right hand to God on the Bible right now. You didn't have a phone in your right hand. Officer, I don't have a right hand.
Hand to God.
Hand to God. Oh my God. This can't be real. This has to be fake. We got to see that again. Hand to God. Right hand to God.
You did not have your phone in your
hand. I did
not. Hand to God, you did not have your phone in your hand.
Hand to God.
No way. That's crazy.
The other hand to God, you don't have a phone in your hand.
Other hand to God, left hand to God. You didn't have a phone in your right hand? I don't have a right hand.
Hand to God.
Cool. You have your driver's license, registration,
yes,
and insurance with you. Hello, man.
That's wild. Damn. Oh man. Right hand to God. Hand to God. Right hand to God. I don't have a right hand. That's crazy. All right. What else do I got for you guys? I got another one. I'm not trying to make it all about handicapped people, pun intended today, but we got one more kind of funny handicap story. But before that, let's look at all these drones that fell out of the sky. Now this is the 26th, so this is almost made the show last week, but we'll do it this week. Let's go full screen in this mug. So apparently this was a drone light show, which they're doing now. I've talked a lot about these drones. The drone stuff's getting crazy, like the drone warfare in Ukraine, the AI technology they're using to coordinate these drones. Anyway, I've talked about it in my city because they did a firework ban. And now instead of fireworks shows at Liberty Park, they do freaking drone shows. I haven't watched one yet. I've seen a bunch of them on video, but I haven't seen one in person. But imagine all these drones go haywire while you're out at the show, and they just start falling out of the sky. It's like the damn X-Files. They're drones flying everywhere, shooting freaking lasers from their freaking heads. Okay, the lasers didn't happen, but something similar to this happened in Australia, and I think in India too. But I have 2 videos here. Let's check this out. Oh, we got to go here. Out of control drones fall. Now, I don't know, man, because they don't all just fall out of the sky at the same time, but some of them are like falling off. Seems like those ones are coordinated, and then these ones just went haywire and started flashing. And some of them are randomly breaking off, but okay, here they are falling. But they fall and they catch themselves. So how do you know this is not planned? Oh, that one fell. That one fell. I'm seeing some fall all the way to the ground or to the water below. So they're supposed to be doing some sort of cool pictures and stuff, but they've all just gone haywire, and they're flashing, giving everybody in the streets epileptic seizures. And the drones are just falling. Now, luckily, this is above the water. But there's also like a pier and some boats and stuff out here. The drones are just crashing down around them. Bring an umbrella, for real. Look at that. I'm watching the bottom. They are hitting the water, some of them. Boom. Boom. This one just on a beeline. That one just hit some random kid in the face. So this is Sydney, Australia, but I think I have one more. Oh, no, this is also from Sydney. So they were both in Sydney. Here's from another view, though. Almost 90 drones fell into Sydney Harbor during a light show at the Vivid Sydney Festival. Dude, everybody in this building is having a seizure right now. But anyway, that's that. Some technology stuff. Who knows what's going to happen with the drones? Find out this week on Unsolved Mysteries. All right. What else do we got? Some local news. New Utah development creates creative opportunity for homeownership. Salt Lake City Community Reinvestment Agency has invested in multiple affording housing projects over the years, many of which apply to rental units. Now the agency is investigating in a unique program to allow buyers to get their foot in the door of the housing market. I was just looking at this. They're coming up with ways to make affordable housing and townhouses. You need to make 80 to 100% of the area median income, and they make it easier to make a down payment. I don't know if it's some scam or what, but this is going to start opening up in the next year. And I was just interested in it, like local affordable housing. But usually when Democrats are behind it, it fails. 23 new affordable townhomes are going to be part of a larger development that will hold 46 new townhomes in the Glendale neighborhood. Glendale, come back to me. I don't know. That'd be the next goal to save up for eventually someday, to put a little down payment on something, build up my credit. That's the next grown-up person goal, I guess. I was just looking at this. Each individual loan gets into a pool of all the loans. Here, the city is actually going to be the investor of that kind of supercharged down payment, and then that person will be able to get the appreciation and increases in their home. Down payment assistance funds get recycled to the next buyer if someone decides to sell the townhome. Buyers will have deed restrictions on the affordable townhomes. Shared equity loans and deed restrictions will cap the appreciation. This is boring. I just wanted to glance through it, look at some of the solutions of the problem with housing costs here in Utah. But now, the last handicapped person story. Let me make sure the windows are right here. I got to do this the right way. Headline from New York Post. Woman plans to have legs amputated after legs locked straight, bent backwards. Now get ready for this picture, guys. What? I wish this was my first time seeing this, because the first time I saw this, I scrolled down just like I just did with you guys, and I saw the picture. And I was dying laughing this morning when I grabbed this. Hopefully it's as funny for you guys the first time. Woman's going to get her legs amputated. They randomly locked straight and then bent backwards. So now she just... No way. Yeah, this is real, I think. Embargoed until 11th May, Megan Dixon has been left with unbearable constant pain for the past 8 years when her legs fixed completely straight. But they're not straight. So her legs locked straight. Then they just slowly started bending backwards. What is this? Where do they do that at? Damn. Is that worse than Alpha Gale? Is that worse than being allergic to red meat from a tick bite? What causes this? This better not be the damn hantavirus. Your legs just randomly... Nope, not funny to me. It's not funny. It's scary. It's horrible. I don't think it's funny. Not funny. She is smiling. Yeah, she's smiling. What do you mean? That she's bold and beautiful. I'm not insulting her. I'm afraid. This crazy. It's not AI. A young woman will have both her legs surgically amputated after they bent at a 45-degree angle upwards. How does this happen, though? She suffers from functional neurological disorder, FND, has bewildered doctors who have not been able to find a cause for her condition. She says it has taken them so long to take action that her only choice left is to have them both amputated. That's horrible. But the picture, come on now. That picture's funny. It's sad that she's getting her legs amputated, but it's crazy and interesting to me about what could cause this. And they have no idea. She hasn't walked since she was 14. It was the hardest when I met with the amputee clinic, and they said amputation was my best option. That's sad and horrible, but... Okay, I'll stop. Initially diagnosed with myalgic encephalomyelitis. Myalgic encephalomyelitis, ME, had physiotherapy, but her legs locked straight. And then they started to go backwards. Functional neurological disorder. It's crazy. It got worse and worse. Fundraising for an electric wheelchair to bring back her independence post-amputation. So hit up her fundraiser. All right. Let's move on.
The American Fork Police.
Sorry, guys. Updates on the Lego scandal from Reckless Ben himself 10 hours ago. I watched some of this morning. It's 17 minutes. We're going to play it pretty quick. Play it at 1.25. Let's see what Ben's got updates for us since we watched this. We watched like 4 hours of this stuff the other night.
Police Department has responded to the video I made about them.
I am the chief of police for the American Fork Police Department.
I love how the chief of the police sent this letter as response with the white background, green screen and white background. So he did his response green screen with a white background just to be funny. Oh my God, Marilyn. Get that comment out of here. How do I get that message out of here? She's blaming the Jays for that girl's legs looking like Jays.
To address the members of our American Fork and Cedar Hills community regarding some videos currently circulating on...
I got you. That's one of those try not to laugh situations that I just put you guys through. If you laughed, you're a horrible human being and you're going to burn in hell, okay? Anybody who laughed at that last picture, you're going to burn in hell, all right?
social media.
So now I will offer a response to their response. There's a lot of new information in this response that I've been wanting to get for a long time, so we'll go over
Look at his logo on his desk. We steal from old people. Police, inheritance, American fork.
that first. One of the main questions in my video was, why did I get swatted for stealing the Legos when this wasn't a mystery to the police officers and they knew that I didn't steal the Legos, that Josh stole the Legos.
He basically stole a $200,000 collection of Star Wars Legos.
But still, why did they raid my house for stealing the Legos when there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that Josh stole the Legos? When I requested the body cam footage of this to try to find the answers myself, they redacted everything, and they claimed it was to protect the victims. However, one of my friends set up a GoPro as we were getting swatted, and we caught the entire conversation on camera.
Included in the warrant are Legos.
For 3 months, the police department's answer has been, this redaction is important because it protects Josh, the victim of this case. However, we can clearly see that the police are looking for Legos and they saw no Legos. And they redacted this because they were embarrassed that they made such a stupid decision to swat the wrong person. They were so embarrassed of swatting my house for stealing the Legos that in all the police reports, it is completely redacted. The police department wants this information hidden so bad that they're willing to break the law to hide this from everyone. The only reason I know about it is because the receipt I got the night I was released from jail and my friend's GoPro that was recording. So even though I've been asking them for 3 months why I got swatted, they finally came up with an answer, which is the Airbnb host told them that I stole the Legos.
During contact with the Airbnb owner, the owner reported overhearing conversations.
All right, chill out, guys. Calm down.
About possible stolen Legos. Specifically, officers wrote in the search warrant affidavit, the homeowner also disclosed that he could hear multiple individuals inside the residence speaking about possibly stolen Lego toys they had taken. Based on that information, officers added a request within the search warrant affidavit seeking authorization to also...
Too soon. Too soon. Play that AOC short I put in politics on Discord. Maybe.
Search for and seize possible stolen property, including Lego merchandise. 4th District Judge Roger W. Griffin reviewed and approved the search warrant.
I always like giving people the benefit of the doubt, and I will take the police officer's word on this, but something fishy is going on here, and everything can just be cleared up if you...
I know, we're allowed to make fun of George Floyd, but don't make fun of Katie's legs.
Unredact the audio and let everyone see the truth. Also, after we got raided and the police officers found no Legos, all of this footage has been redacted too. And my guess is if the police unredact this footage, we will find out the answers once and for all. While we were getting swatted, one of the police officers decided to injure me for absolutely no reason. He claims it's because I was trying to make a fast movement.
Don't move like that. You understand me? Don't move like that. Don't move quick. Everybody just chill.
But when we replay the footage, you can clearly see I was not making any fast movements. However, the police department has an answer to this.
During Snyder's detention...
I get that, but you don't need to keep telling us about it. All right, we get it. You're offended.
Lieutenant Adamson took hold of Snyder's right arm. Lieutenant Adamson later reported that he felt Snyder tense his arm, at which point Adamson moved Snyder's right arm.
You're going to get punched, Seahawk Daddy, figuratively in a video game. Over the internet. Metaphorically.
Behind his back to place him into custody.
The police department has made it clear I did not, in fact, make any quick movements like the police officer claims I did. So the police officer was lying, but not fully, because I did tense my arm. However, he lunges at me extremely fast before he even touches me. So how could he even know that I was tensing my arm before he even grabs me? That doesn't make any sense. There's only one solution. This police officer has psychic powers, and he could tell that my arm was tensing up before grabbing me. However, this makes no sense, because if the police officer did truly have psychic powers, he would have known that we were not the thieves, Josh and Brandon were the thieves. So this can't be the case either. I'm trying to have an open mind with these different possibilities of what this could be, but literally the only outcome left is that this police officer injured me for no reason. However, the police have another response to this of why I must be lying.
In the X-ray image displayed by Mr. Snyder in that video, a small L is visible in the upper right-hand corner of the X-ray. The L indicates the image is that of the left shoulder. The video shows Lieutenant Adamson handling Snyder's right arm during the arrest.
Yes, the stock footage I used to show what a dislocated shoulder is, an image that's clearly not mine because I didn't go to the hospital, I went to jail, so how could I have taken this picture? But anyways, the stock image I used is of a left shoulder when my shoulder that got injured was my right shoulder. When I was editing this, I like to think highly of my audience that they would have known that this was a stock image and I wouldn't have to spoon feed every tiny detail to my audience. But now I realize that there's another portion of my audience called the American Fork Police Department that
that are a little bit dumb.
Yeah, I do have to spoon feed my.
They might need some of this explained to them, Ben.
And every single piece of information too. So I'm going to use this as constructive criticism, and in every single episode going forward now that I know that the American Fork Police Department's watching, I will be forced to spoon feed every single detail. As a professional slackliner, dislocating my shoulder is almost a monthly thing for me.
The whole weight of my arm is just on this bone.
Boon. 3 days before I got arrested, I had a really bad ski accident where I had a really bad dislocation of my shoulder, and any movement at all would have...
Reckless Ben was on Tosh.0 back in the day.
Dislocated it. So I will say here, I don't think that the police officer was purposely trying to
get
injure
a
me.
content
I think to a normal person, this would have been fine.
recovery or
But
whatever it was?
For me in particular, this was not good, but it was still unjustified. And the police officer was just making up an excuse, and now they're making up an excuse to defend it. Another thing I find shocking is the chief of police, even after reviewing the dash cam footage, says that we ran a stop sign.
Richardson initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle for failing to stop before the stop line at a stop sign and failing to stop completely at that stop sign.
The chief of police looked at this video and said, we ran a stop sign.
That was a thorough stop. Look.
The police looked at this video and
the car's
said,
rolling,
we ran a stop sign.
Stops. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. They stopped for 2 Mississippi.
And now he's using that to say, this was a legal traffic stop. The police officers did nothing wrong. At this point, we thought the best thing to do was to take Josh.
Oh, so we're not, what about the people who have, what about the elderly folks who have 55-year-old sons, Seahawk Daddy? You think about them? How do they feel about that? Okay, enough.
To court so he can be legally accountable for the crimes he committed. However, to do that, we are first required to serve him court papers. So we did what the law told us to do. I got a process server, and we went to his house to do this the legal way. However, Josh did not want to.
We watched all of this Saturday night. The 2 full videos, which is like 3 hours of stuff, and I was talking about this for like 4 hours the other night, but this is 17 minutes where he pretty much goes through all of it and his response to the American Fork Police who arrested him. The Lego scandal, if you don't know, $200,000 worth of Lego sets stolen by a company called Bricks and Minifigs. They were closing down one franchise. They moved all the stock, the inventory to other franchises, and they're selling them all over the country now. And this guy can't get his Legos back. Ben's been investigating it. He got arrested. And it's been going viral. If you don't know about this story, you should look into it because we're just doing an update right now.
To do this the legal way, and instead called the police on us.
Joshua Johnson contacted police and reported he was going to shoot someone.
3 Mississippi. Yeah, I know. 3 Mississippi. But, 2 Mississippi in Utah with no cars around except for the cop who's behind you.
The ongoing harassment. Multiple officers immediately responded to the area.
Josh was so scared of going to court that he would rather shoot us than accept these court papers. Josh's logic.
And after they pulled him over there, they proceeded to hold them there for 3 hours and search the entire car for heroin, which wasn't there because it was a fake call.
Here is that if he can murder the prostitute.
They weren't actually stopping him because of the stop sign infraction, is the point.
A server, and if he can murder me, then he can get away with his crimes because there'll be no one to sue him in court. However, sadly for Josh, murder is illegal. And now he just admitted his plans to the police officers. The American Fork Police should at least be arresting Josh for trying to use murder as a way to get out of court. But sadly, for some reason, they arrested me instead.
Am I being arrested? Really?
Something about this seems off, and all of the answers are in the body cam footage. However, they redacted all the body cam footage. So this is where I think if we all come together as a community, we can somehow convince the American Fork Police Department to unredact this footage so we can find out why they arrested me and not the guy who threatened to murder me. However, the American Fork Police does not want to unredact the footage right now, and now have made up a new excuse of why I was the one justified being arrested.
Officer Sombot contacted the Marion County Circuit Court in Oregon to verify the legitimacy of the paperwork. The court confirmed that the case was indeed legitimate, but that papers had already been served and no hearing date had yet been scheduled.
The police department said the reason they arrested me and not Josh this day is because they called to confirm if this was a real court case, and they said it was real. However, the papers have already been served, and now I'm doing this solely to get YouTube content. And if that's true, I would like to see footage of it. They released all the raw footage, and that part doesn't seem to be in the raw footage.
It's already been to court, or are you allowed to tell me kind of where they're at with the case?
There is no hearing date set, and there hasn't been a hearing in the case yet. All I see is the claim that was filed. I don't see proof of service or anything. A hearing wouldn't be set until a response is filed by the defendant.
This is when they were trying to serve him outside of his house with his court papers because they were trying to sue him, and they had a notary there. They had a process server. Everything's been done the right way, and the cops pull up on him instead of the guy who needs to be served.
Okay, so the defendant needs to be served with papers before the case will, I guess, start.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your help. I think that's all for today. Thank you.
So go serve the defendant, or let the process server go serve him.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay, bye.
Right here, the police officer admits that it is March 10th.
On March 10th, 2026.
However, you can see here that Josh doesn't get served until 3 days later, March 13th. So how could Josh have already been served on March 10th if he didn't get served until March 13th? Unless Josh is a time traveler. There's only one way to clear this all up. American Fork Police Department, show me the time machine. So now they say that I have done all the check marks which constitute stalking. Let's go through them.
Individual commits stalking if the individual intentionally or knowingly engages in a course of conduct directed at a specific individual.
So yes, I did do an action that was targeted at a specific individual, but that's what's required by the court if I want to take someone to court. If someone steals your stuff and you go through the legal process to take them to court, it is not considered stalking. I have a right as an American to sue him.
Is reckless as to whether that course of conduct would cause a reasonable person to fear for the individual's own safety or the safety of another.
The second check mark is that if a reasonable person would be scared. The police are claiming that since this action made Josh scared, this check mark is complete. However, they've completely forgotten about the term reasonable. As we can see, Josh is not a reasonable person. This is someone who multiple times has tried to silence someone by accusing them of being on heroin.
Here's the crazy thing. They told me that they took over that location because the owners were using the location to fund their heroin addiction. What? Yeah, and that's how they took it over, and saying they had like a pigeon in there that was crapping all over the Legos, and it smelled bad, all this stuff.
This is someone who threatened to murder me just for trying to...
So they aggressively took over the franchise location where the $200,000 worth of sets was dropped off. Convenient timing, too, that $200,000 worth of sets gets dropped off at this location, and then they come over and take over the location. And then they make claims that it's because of heroin, which is the same thing they said about Ben in his car.
To serve him papers. This is not a reasonable person. It is not reasonable to threaten to murder someone just for serving papers. A reasonable person would accept the papers, so that second checkbox does not meet the requirements. I even tried explaining this to one of the police officers early on.
What the law says is if the average person would feel unsafe by our behaviors. So I think he's feeling unreasonably unsafe. A reasonable person would not feel unsafe in the situation. Well, I can say the same thing. I feel unsafe trying to conduct business with him, and he calls the police on me to hide. I feel unsafe because of that. Because we had a 3-hour search on our car. He said we had heroin in our car yesterday. We had a 3-hour search on our car. That makes me feel unsafe. I think that's reasonable for me to feel unsafe. It's not reasonable for him to feel unsafe.
So Josh is actually the one who said he was going to murder me if I take him to court. But now, I'm the one that's being looked into for threatening to murder Josh. How does this make any sense?
Mr. Johnson alleged that Mansell had hired Benjamin Snyder to harass, stalk, vandalize the store, threaten to murder the manager of the store.
What? Now, let's go to the heroin claim. We got pulled over by the police, and they claimed that we had heroin on us. Most of this footage is redacted, so again, there's a big mystery of what happened. Can we all come together and convince the American Fork Police Department to unredact this so we can find out the truth? However, what the police is claiming now is that they did not get a call saying that we had heroin on us. Instead, they could just tell from the second we pulled over that our eyes were glossy.
During the interaction, Officer Fraughton indicated he believed Shaw's eyes appeared glossy and expressed concern regarding possible impairment.
Glossy? I don't know if glossy is a good description for heroin face. If anything, the driver of the car just looked naturally tweaked out. He didn't look... I mean, his pupils were a little pinned, but not glossy.
If we look back on the raw footage, this is what the police officer said his first interaction with us was like.
Good with these guys being able to drive?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't see anything clear as day with Tyler that I noticed.
What's the goal?
Right now? Yeah, I was gonna scare him a little bit and let him go. Is all I really was gonna do.
We have charges, or are we just tired of them being annoying?
It seems hard to take what the chief of police is saying seriously.
No charges, just tired of them being annoying. Yeah, that's a law that you can break in America. Annoying. You're being a little too annoying. Let's scare him out of here.
Because so far, almost everything he said is a lie. So the only way we can actually find out the truth is if we unredact everything. We already know the victim's name is Joshua Johnson. Why do we have to keep that protected? His name is already out there. None of these redactions are protecting anything except for the police. And now I want to acknowledge my friend Sheldon's arrest.
The group stated they were supporting a GoFundMe campaign for a dying man. One of the individuals later identified as Sheldon Norcross. Officer Richardson then decided to seize Norcross's phone, pending the approval of a search warrant, in order to preserve potential evidence and prevent the deletion or alteration of any data. According to Officer Richardson's reports, when Norcross was informed that the phone was going to be seized, Norcross immediately began manipulating the device.
The police officer claims that Sheldon was arrested because he opened his phone to start deleting evidence. However, we can clearly see in the footage...
Oh, this is when the guy just is turning off of his phone to lock it because they're seizing his phone. And they just yoke his phone out of his hand while he's just shutting off his screen because he's recording, so the screen is staying open.
Sheldon's thumb is heading towards that lock button to lock his phone. His phone was open when he pulled it out, and the phone was transitioning from on to off, not from off to on. From this response, it almost seems like the police officers didn't even watch the video. So American Fork Police Department, if I'm your teacher, here's your homework. First off, learn the facts of what actually happened. Second off, stop lying about the facts. No one's believing it. The third thing is unredact the audio that makes the police look bad. Some of the best lawyers in the United States are reaching out to me right now, so eventually this is going to get released. Wouldn't you just like to get this over with sooner rather than dragging this out? The more we drag this out, the more content we get, so this only benefits me to drag this out. It doesn't benefit you. If you unredact the illegally redacted parts now, you'll win over audience support much faster. It's kind of funny, because a lot of you guys probably think I'm trying to make fun of this other cop by how he was talking.
Brother, you mind turning up the volume? Holy, it's actual ASMR. Wow. I cannot really hear him. Why is he whispering?
No, I'm actually just super sick right now. I haven't been sleeping, so I'm trying to get out part 3 as fast as I can. And that's caused me just to stay up all night, every night, and not sleep. And now I'm sick and have no voice. But yeah, I guess it kind of, I don't know why that police officer was talking with such a low, quiet voice, but that's why I am, at least. I wasn't making fun of him. I literally am just genuinely sick. But
the white background and the decal on your desk, that is making fun of him. So the voice is a step too far.
If you want to see part 3, subscribe to my Patreon at patreon.com/recklessben. Part 3 will be up there very soon. Part 2, I'm only dealing with misdemeanors, but part 3 is when they start accusing me of felonies. So it gets insane. But yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to crank out videos in the meantime until part 3 is done. But thanks for all the support, and let's find Brian's Legos.
Good job, Reckless Ben. Hashtag save Brian's Legos. Save the Legos. This time on Unsolved Lego Mysteries. All right. That's it for Reels and Rapid Fire. For the last little bit here, just gonna hang out. I guess check out some more Ukraine stuff. Updates, the newest Ukraine news. But first, let me see what Marilyn sent me. Where'd you send it, Marilyn? She sent $5. Which one is it? This one? This AOC? The UFO one? Which one? Where is it at? June 1st. Must be this one. Copy link. This better be good, Marilyn. What's up, Freddie?
While AOC was
Hold on. All right, let's find it. Sometimes Marilyn gets us funny stuff. Like the dolphin story. That was a good one.
Solidarity in her hijab, the male-only crowd ignored her.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah. I did see something about this. And they won't. They stand up. They don't want to listen to her.
And spoke over her. No women allowed at this event, by the way.
Selflessness and solidarity.
And now there's a bunch of Dawa guys. They're coming out and they're saying women are ruining the Dawa movement. So they'll infiltrate. That's what you do. You want to play that leftist game. They play the leftist game. They hate Democrat policies, but they'll vote for Democrat policies as a way to bring about some means to an end of America, because they know Democrat policies cripple and destroy America. They bring us down, they dumb us down and demoralize us, and that's the way that they can easily take us over. So they vote for these democratic policies, and they push for this equity and diversity and inclusion and all this crap that they don't believe in so that they can take us over. But guess what? It's going to affect you guys too, because all the politicians getting in are ladies, except what, Zohran Mamdani? Yeah, that's an alpha male, Muslim alpha male for you. They don't care. They're just ignoring her. Shut up, woman.
Bro, there's not a single woman in that crowd. They're not allowed. They have to go sit on the street in the back, apparently. This is so...
Look, the guys behind her are like, what is this? Why is she talking? Get this woman off the stage. Who is she?
Poetic, dude. You know how they say a picture's worth 1,000 words? Well, this video's worth 1,000,000. Follow for more political crap.
Okay. I would have rather just had the original video, but okie dokie. All right. What's the most current Ukraine news? What do we got? I think that I think the war's ending, guys. What was I going to watch? Russia finance officials tell Putin war spending is unaffordable. Concerns mount that Belarus could be a launch pad for new Russian offensive. Russia begins talks of ending the war to save the economies, from Reuters. Russia's economy has slowed to 1% due to sanctions and attacks on oil refineries. Because that's how Ukraine fights Russia. They shut down supply lines. Russian businesses and politicians are openly declaring the need to end the war. The Russian economy is increasingly feeling the consequences of the war against Ukraine, and representatives of big business and finance circles are already openly talking about the need to end hostilities to restore economic growth. This is reported by Reuters on the eve of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, according to UNN. According to the agency, Russian President Vladimir Putin will hold his 5th wartime economic forum in St. Petersburg against the backdrop of a deteriorating economic situation and the lack of a clear strategy for the country's further development. The Russian economy, whose volume is estimated at approximately 3 trillion, slowed its growth to about 1% in 2025 after 4.9% a year earlier. In the first quarter of 2026, the Russian economy already contracted by 0.2%. I have to write some of this stuff down. Russian economy has slowed. We're debating Dylan Burns tomorrow night. Same time as this show. Russian economic growth. Slowed to 1%. Down from what, 4.9? And that's due to sanctions and Ukraine blocking supply lines. Russia's economy is deteriorating. The Russian economy already contracted by 0.2%. The Russian government In the first quarter of 2026, the economy has already contracted by 0.2%. The Russian government attributes the problems to high interest rates, Western sanctions, and the strengthening of the ruble. Sanctions. Western sanctions. Supply line attacks. In particular, attacks on oil refineries, ports, and industrial enterprises have disabled a significant part of the economic infrastructure. According to the agency's estimates, approximately a quarter of Russian oil refining capacity has been affected, creating risks of fuel shortages. Business wants an end to the war. Business wants an end to the war. Putin's been talking about ends to the war. Well, I need the quotes from this Ben Hodges guy. Where's the video that we watched the other day? We're going to watch it again. It is this one.
The momentum of the Russia-Ukraine war has shifted dramatically. Somehow, against all the odds, Ukraine has found ways to severely weaken and frustrate one of the world's largest military forces, despite beginning this conflict as the ultimate underdog. Now, many prominent military analysts argue that Ukraine has a realistic path to preventing a Russian victory, even as the war continues to grind on and Moscow presses ahead with its attritional strategy. One of those military minds is Ben Hodges, a retired US Army officer who served as the commanding general of United States Army Europe and later as NATO's senior mentor for logistics.
Ben Hodges, retired Army officer. Served as General of United States Army Europe. Served as NATO's senior member of logistics. I'm writing horrible handwriting right now.
Hodges is a man with decades of military experience and almost unparalleled insight into tactics, strategy.
This Ben Hodges guy is saying that there's a path to victory for Ukraine. Putin is showing signs that there's a path to victory. The economy is down. Their gain on land has been reducing over the last couple of months. So it seems like Ukraine is winning, even though we're supporting them less.
And the shifting dynamics of modern conflicts. When he
is JS debating a fellow Christian? No, I'm pretty sure he's a bisexual atheist, progressive. No, he's not a fellow Christian.
Talks, people listen, and he's had plenty to say about the war in Ukraine over the years. In fact, he's been one of the most outspoken believers in the prospect.
This footage is all from the military show. This is pre-recorded footage of the war in Ukraine right now, and we're covering this for educational news and documentary footage, some entertainment, but mainly just learning and studying the war in Ukraine from the military show on YouTube. Previously recorded footage, not live. YouTube disclaimer.
Of some sort of Ukrainian victory since the early stages of the war. In September 2022, for instance, when much of the world's media was convinced that Russia would inevitably have too much.
Dude, and here's something I can grant to Dylan in this debate. He was right. We were all wrong. When this war started and he was debating everybody about this, he was saying, Ukraine is going to win. Ukraine has this. Ukraine is winning. Ukraine is doing great. Ukraine is amazing. I can give him all that. Ukraine is awesome. Ukraine is great. Putin's evil. When I thought the war was going to be over in 3 days and Russia was just going to crush Ukraine like the hand of God would crush a grape, it didn't happen. Turned out Ukraine was able to hold its own. Could that be because of all the funding they have from NATO and Western countries and the EU and America, and our backing that they were able to do so well? Probably. But regardless, I thought they were going to lose in a day. Most people thought it was going to be over in a day and Russia was just going to crush them. Dylan was saying from the beginning, no, Ukraine's got this. They're going to win. And now, 3 years later, seems like he was right. Ukraine is winning. But they're doing that even better under less support from America. So if we completely end our support, does that mean they win the war?
Money, might, and manpower for Ukraine to resist, Hodges wrote an op-ed in The Telegraph entitled "Prepare for Russia Itself to Disintegrate," in which he argued that Russia would not only lose the war, but that the entire Russian Federation as we know it.
That was an op-ed in what?
The Telegraph entitled
Op-ed and Telegraph. Prepare for Russia itself.
Prepare for Russia itself to disintegrate.
And he seems to be on point here with what we just read from Reuters about the economy. With what we know about their land, they're not advancing. They're actually losing land. Let me find this op-ed. Ben Hodges, Telegraph, prepare for Russia itself to disintegrate. The Telegraph, prepare for Russia itself to disintegrate. September 13th, 2022. This video is from 8 days ago, but Ben Hodges was saying this in 2022. Oh, they're not going to let me read. Well, I need to make a free account. Hold on, let me make a free account real quick. I hope it's going to auto remember that password because it just generated a password for me. I don't want membership. No, you said it was free. You've earned 3 months free. I'm not signing up for anything. Try the Telegraph free for 14 days. They're not going to let me read it. I have key arguments from Hodges. A historical crisis. Hodges suggests that Putin's exposed vulnerabilities and mounting battlefield losses have created an unprecedented historic crisis of confidence. The second collapse, he drew a parallel to the fall of the Soviet Union. Just as the West was caught unprepared for the Soviet implosion, Hodges warned against failing to prepare for a potential disintegration of the modern Russian state. Gradual to abrupt. Hodges stated that a Russian collapse could begin gradually before suddenly erupting into abrupt, chaotic, and potentially violent shifts. So I have an AI overview of the article, but they won't let me read the article.
Great, in which he argued that Russia would not only lose the war, but that the entire Russian Federation as we know it would collapse in the ensuing fallout. He has repeatedly called out what he perceives as the failures of the Russian government, singling out Putin himself for particularly sharp criticism. Even as the war has shifted back and forth, with completely different dynamics evolving over time, like the shift from mechanized...
It might backfire. I don't know, man. If they're doing better with less funding, I don't want the war to drag out forever. I'd rather continue decreasing funding while they continue winning and eventually get to a point of zero funding. The more we fund them, the more weapons we send them, the more finances, the more people, the more assistance we give them, the more the war drags on.
Assaults to drone warfare.
Until what line do you delineate to where Ukraine becomes the aggressor? When Russia's already suffered more casualties, Ukraine has some of the most advanced weaponry around. Like, at what point are we now being bullies to Russia, which could cause war on a global stage? I would rather prevent that. I don't want to cause problems with Russia or be the white knight to Ukraine or Russia, either one of them.
Hodges has largely maintained his viewpoint that Russia cannot and will not emerge victorious. Over time, some of Hodges' broader assessments about the war have resonated with more and more analysts. In 2026, he continues to hold that view and shared some of his more recent thoughts on the conflict during an in-depth interview on the Decoding Geopolitics podcast with Dominic Pressel in early May. During his opening remarks of that interview, Hodges stated, "It's clear that the momentum has
that looked like fake footage.
Shifted to the advantage of Ukraine. That doesn't mean that Ukraine's about to win or something like that, but I think it becomes increasingly clear that there's no way that Russia can actually defeat Ukraine." When asked to elaborate, Hodges touched on 5 major reasons why this has happened, and we'll explore each of those in detail. The first is casualties, with Hodges quite clearly stating, "This momentum has shifted in part because of the enormous casualties that Ukraine has inflicted on Russia. Casualties now, for the first time, exceed what Russia's able to bring into the army." The data backs this up, and the official numbers make for quite grim reading from the Kremlin's perspective, with a reported 352,000 Russian soldiers killed in the war with Ukraine between the day it began and the end of 2025. That figure was announced by exiled Russia media outlets Meduza and Mediazona on May 9, 2026, which is also the date of Russia's annual military parade celebrating victory over Nazi Germany during World War II. To calculate the country's losses, Mediazona worked in conjunction with the BBC Russian service to compile an extensive database of confirmed soldier deaths, using a range of sources like social media posts and official probate records to help them. That database includes approximately 218,000 confirmed names of Russian soldiers killed in Ukraine. To arrive at the 352,000 estimate, Mediazona and Meduza then looked at the excess male mortality rate for younger age groups seen in the probate records. Their estimate appears accurate, as other organizations covering the war have arrived at similar figures. The Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS for example, which is a Washington-based think tank, stated in January that around 325,000 Russian soldiers plus 140,000 Ukrainians had likely been killed in the war by the end of 2025. These figures don't include the casualties recorded in 2026, which have reportedly seen tens of thousands more Russians killed along the front lines and countless others injured as well. The estimates also don't cover the deaths among foreign fighters and soldiers fighting for Russia in the various militias that are formed throughout the occupied Ukrainian territories, so the Kremlin's losses are likely to be significantly greater. That might explain why Russia goes to such great lengths to conceal any information about its casualty rate.
Right, and that 352,000 Russian soldiers killed number, it goes through how they get that data in there. I would just have to reference this video or something.
Sometimes even deleting data from public records or blurring satellite pictures of military cemeteries, so that Russian research groups and the general public don't realize the extent of the country's losses. But the Kremlin can't hide the truth forever. Even as it scrambles to block apps, ban VPNs, and cut the Russian public off from the outside world, countless media reports continue to reveal the truth. Russia has suffered far greater casualties than Ukraine and continues to throw its troops into the fires of the front lines, banking on its brute force tactics to eventually pave the way to victory. For years, it got away with it. Now, however, as Hodges notes, Russia's manpower reserves are starting to run dry. In May 2026, data show that the Kremlin's forces had lost more men than they were able to recruit for 5 straight months in a row. To be more precise, Ukraine's unmanned systems forces estimated that Russia recruited around 148,400 people from December 2025 to April 2026. In that same period, it suffered 156,735 confirmed
Look at those
casualties.
drone rockets.
With March
That's crazy. Looks like a little mini nuke on a drone.
in April, seeing around 34,000 losses each. The longer this goes on, the worse it's going to get.
The longer this goes on, the worse it's going to get. I want to read about this Gonzalo Lira guy more. Agreement, Pope Leo, Ukraine, Google Maps. Global examples. Where is my thing on Gonzalo Lira? Oh, this was supposed to be in the news last week, but I put it in my Ukraine folder. The Pope talking about AI. I wondered what happened to that story. I knew I had it saved somewhere. I put it in the wrong folder. Pope Leo compares AI threat to biblical Tower of Babel. We were supposed to talk about that last week. Whoops. Oh, here we go. Ukraine allows American journalists to freeze to death. Now, I need better than AI overview. Wikipedia? Gonzalo Lira. Was a Chilean American, at various times in his life, novelist, screenwriter, filmmaker, self-styled dating coach, YouTuber, political commentator, blogger, and vlogger. At one point in his career as a novelist, Lira was described as the highest paid Chilean writer in the world. Lira would later become involved in the manosphere, posting anti-feminist Coach Red Pill. Oh my God, why didn't I notice this? Yes, this is Coach Red Pill. I know about Coach Red Pill. When whoever was in my chat telling me, look up the journalist that died in Ukraine, and I looked it up, and I saw Gonzalo Lira, I know about Coach Red Pill. I did not read the article that night. By the time of the Russian invasion of Ukraine in early 2022, Lira had been living in Ukraine for years, and as a resident of Kharkiv, Lira started vlogging about the Russian invasion, soon being described by Ukrainian officials and Western researchers and media as spreading Russian disinformation and propaganda. In April 2022, Lira disappeared briefly in Ukraine, stating upon his release that he had been detained by the Security Service of Ukraine. In May 2023, Lira was again arrested by the SBU, and this time charged with producing and publishing material that tried to justify the ongoing Russian invasion, something illegal under Ukrainian law. Lira was released on bail and subsequently tried to flee the country. He was arrested again for violating his bail conditions and died of pneumonia in custody on January 12, 2024. So his dad and Russian authorities say that they basically tortured him and let him freeze to death. Ukraine says he just got pneumonia. Coach Red Pill. I did not realize this was Coach Red Pill when I put this in my notes. I think, is his YouTube channel still exist? Gonzalo Lira, The Deconstruction of Coach Red Pill, an American Parasite. Gonzalo Lira exposed. Oh, this is the expose.
The Facts Hunter.
The Facts Hunter.
This is the story of a YouTuber who made lying part of his existence. A manipulated con man who, despite being born into
This is the hit piece.
wealth and privilege, failed to build a prosperous career and instead became a Russian shield during one of the most destructive conflicts in Europe since the Second World War. Chapter 1: Before the Red Pill. Gonzalo Lira was born in 1968 in Burbank, California. He was the firstborn to Gonzalo Lira Valdez, a high-end executive with a background in law and economics. During a stream, Lira claimed he was the son of a banker, but this data is hard to verify.
I think the budget was incredibly irresponsible. It was an incredibly irresponsible budget. You never should have signed it. Apart from the politically responsible budget. What? I'm not.
Gonzalo Lira debating neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes.
See the responsible budget come out the long fucking time.
That's very true.
James said the same thing. Oh, fiscal irresponsibility, blah, blah. But you actually bring in more tax revenue when you cut the tax rates. This is basic a priori economics.
It goes in the opposite direction after a while.
No. No,
yes, it does.
This was no.
Sorry, buddy.
No.
You're talking to a banker's son here, okay?
Well,
it goes in the opposite direction.
Well, you said you're the banker's son. I don't know what I was supposed
I wanted
to take
to emphasize the fact
Are you Jewish?
I didn't know about this banker man. I was like a kid.
Boy, hey, I'm the banker's son, and I know what I'm talking about, do I? I mean, I look.
Oh my God, the editing on this is ridiculous.
YouTube channel The Hill that Gonzalo Lira is a direct descendant of Jose Miguel Carrera, considered to be the first president of the independent nation of Chile.
So who is Gonzalo Lira and why is he controversial? Well, Gonzalo Lira is an American-born and mostly raised in the United States to Chilean parents. He is a direct descendant of Jose Miguel Carrera, the first.
Regardless of all this hit piece stuff, he died in a Ukrainian prison because he was telling Russia's side of the story?
Well, it's not to fucking give you an education. That's for fucking sure. You're not supposed to get an education at school. The objective of the school is to get the accreditation. All of school, elementary school, high school, college, grad school, it's all
for the piece of paper, we got it.
Someone from North America. Not a derogatory name per se, but he was definitely different from other kids. Later on his teen years, he will also be picked on for being inadequate and for carrying himself as a pompous know-it-all.
I was bullied in school a few times, especially in middle school.
Know-it-all. The nicest insult anybody could ever use. You're a know-it-all. Well, thank you. What are you, a know-nothing?
Like around, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Yeah, I got bullied a lot. I got bullied a lot for various reasons. Partly flaws in my own character.
Okay, I don't want to learn too much about this guy. All I need to know is he died in a Ukrainian prison. Where did my chat go? Where'd you go, chat? Okay, there you go. He came across as a R supporter. Now you obligated to support and defend Ukraine. RIP Dr. Red Pill. An OG, I remember when he started getting on these Skype calls. The prompt implies support for Ukraine? Huh?
I was 13, 14. I was very isolated, almost ostracized, as a matter of fact, because I was weird. I was very smart. I was smarter than most of the kids in my class. And, I'd gotten into reading in a big way. And I was reading stuff that...
Everybody says this. It's like the Owen Benjamin, I'm a genius, guys. That's why you should listen to me.
When he needed to choose a career, he claims he told his parents about his passion for writing, but his parents didn't saw writing as a profitable field. Side note, in later interviews, his mother would contradict this statement when she came out on the record claiming she didn't know her son.
The U.S. is obligated to support Ukraine.
Had ambitions of becoming a writer, as she only found out when and after Lyra wrote his first novel at age 19. After graduating from St. George College, one of the most prestigious
Utah? St. George College in Utah?
Private schools in Chile, Gonzalo's parents pressured him into attending college in pursuit of a profitable career like medicine or law. Gonzalo opted for a career in commercial engineering. Here
Where's the part where he dies in Chile?
So, in 1991, Gonzalo Lira left Chile, heading to Hanover,
he dies
New
in
Hampshire.
Ukraine.
He left as a failure. He didn't have that many friends, was kicked out of engineering school due to low grades, and his novel was rejected by every publishing house in Chile.
Okay, so this is just a hit piece. They don't even talk about the part where he dies in a Ukrainian prison. So, anyway, let's see. State police find missing. New stuff on Tyler Robinson. Judge denies closure of preliminary hearing. Closure from the media, I'm guessing. New Jersey State Police crackdown. Moscow attacks change everything. Did they accidentally hit a hotel in a NATO country?
And the war is being waged against their will. The people who support the war are a very loud minority. And yes, the majority of people choose to, not talk about the situation and kind of almost ignore, which unfortunately, by Russia's design, matter more than any other Russians. These people now realize that the president cannot defend his capital and also cannot bring an end to the thing that he started, and he cannot control it. It's also funny because Putin's rating has kind of been dropping a lot recently because of the internet censorship and internet shutdowns happening in Russia. Cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg and other large cities are often having issues where they have absolutely no mobile internet whatsoever, no data, which the Russian people are not really happy about. And the Russian government was explaining all these restrictions and internet shutdowns, saying essentially that we're taking away your freedom and your internet away because we would like to defend you against these Ukrainian drone attacks. And guess what? Right now in Russia, like the entirety of the internet is banned at this point or something. The freedom of the internet is on the level of North Korea. And still, drone attacks happen, and it seems like, turning off the internet does not actually help. And all these precautions that Russia did for people's safety do not work at all. Also, what's funny is that right now Russian propaganda is trying to pretend like none of this ever happens. The Russian news simply did not mention the attack at all, but at least some Russian propagandists are talking about it. The owner of Russia Today, Margarita Simonyan, said this, for example.
That's Russia Today? I thought that was Tenet.
Летят беспилотники.
This dude used to be a commentary YouTuber that would get in beef with Keemstar, who Coach Red Pill. Yeah. I didn't even realize that Gonzalo Lira, the guy who died in the Ukrainian prison, when people were telling me about it in my chat and I was looking into it and reading about it, I didn't even make the connection that that's Coach Red Pill. And I think at some point in the night, I was like, who's that YouTuber that died over there? And I didn't make the connection that that's Coach Red Pill. But yeah, he froze to death in a Ukrainian prison.
Приятно, страшно. Мои дети, которые месяц уже спят в коридоре.
They say he got pneumonia, but his father said through correspondence that they were torturing him and letting him die. And that's also what news came from Russia about that too. But then the Ukrainian news is no, he just got pneumonia and died. What do you want to believe? I don't know. But what I do know is just because a journalist is reporting fairly on this, you're keeping him locked up in prison and holding him hostage. You won't send him home. And then he dies in your custody. But Dylan says 43 journalists have died in Ukraine covering this. And that's morally, ethically fucked is his exact words. He said that's ethically fucked that he has to take his press badge off because if he wears his press badge, he's more of a target. And they're killing like 43 press members so far. And he said that's ethically fucked. Well, how about when Ukraine lets a press member die in Ukrainian prison just for what? Telling Russia's side of the story? So we're not allowed to tell Russia's side of the story. You're not allowed to go over there. Seems like one-sided narrative building. Seems biased. I don't need to make a case for Russia or Ukraine. Doesn't matter. I could say Russia's great and I want Russia to win, or I could say Ukraine's great and I want Ukraine to win, or I could say they're both evil. It doesn't matter who wins. Doesn't matter which side is right or which side is wrong. None of that None of that matters. All that matters is that I'm not obligated to support either one of them.
коридоре и еще в гардеробе.
Regardless of who's winning or losing, regardless of who's right and who's wrong, regardless of who caused it, even if America had something to do with causing it 32 years ago through actions that Clinton made or other presidents made in the past, none of that obligates me to support Ukraine today.
Да, действительно, на самом деле. На 9 мая маленькая 6-летняя, она, конечно, все знает уже про войну, про наш подвиг, но она не знает деталей.
Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I got to get out of here. Got to go to church. Got to go to work. Got to go to work. It's work time. My opening's written. Tomorrow morning I will do my final research on my own, and then we will be debating tomorrow night at 6 p.m. my time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that's the plan. Make sure you guys check it out. Is there anybody live right now? Who's live right now? Who's live? Who's live? Make sure you guys hit the like button and all that good stuff. Make sure you're subbed up. Our representatives have clearly chosen to support them. Pulling back now is the worst of both worlds. No, we currently have been reducing our funding. We've gone from 14 billion to 400 million in a year, and Ukraine is doing better in the war. So, doesn't seem like us pulling our support is causing them more harm. Now, Dylan will say it is, but it's causing less harm to Russia. So work is church when you are not at church. Okay. That's a good way to look at it. Marilyn, the super chat star of the show. That's sad, guys, when you let Marilyn be the only super chat star of the show. Crazy. That's crazy, bruh. Damn, lots of people are live right now. We'll go to Teriak or Rob. We'll go to Teriak. Anyway, I'm unsubscribing and then I'm going to fall asleep in the Discord. All right. Hey, go say hi to Teriak, guys. Thank you for hanging out. God bless. This has been the Dreaded Conservative Show, Monday night, kicking the week off right. The world's a crazy place. I just report on it. If you like it, tell a friend. If you hate it, tell everyone. But I'm out, guys. Signing off. Peace.